Hello, everyone, and welcome to another developer update. I'm Worthen, and today I'm joined by Jenova, and we're going to be chatting a bit about Festival Tech, a tool developed during the season of Aurora to connect others and create lasting memories that we're excited to integrate more and more into Sky in the future. Jenova, how you doing?
Pretty nervous because I haven't been doing developer commentary for a long time. Ever since COVID. It's been
years. Since the office, right? Yeah. Well, I think it'll be fine.
Last time we were doing this, and we're in physical office, right? That's a long time ago.
Maybe the next time we do this, we can get in person again, maybe. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the questions here. So first thing, I mentioned in the intro here that we're referring to this technology as Festival Tech. And I think we've done some interviews where we've talked about maybe concert tech, audience tech. Do you want to talk about why we've kind of landed on Festival Tech?
Yeah, ultimately, when we created Sky, we want to create a place where people can create genuine human connections with each other. This is not something where you trade with somebody with a token or numbers, but it's actually an emotional connection where you feel you're understood, you're valued, and that is a interactivity between two human beings that will actually help each other. And so when we work on journey, we focus on just one person with another person at a time. And in order to build these genuine connections, we have to build trust. We have to create comfortable environment where people are willing to be a bit vulnerable to, kind of connect with the other person. And after journey, we learned many great design techniques. So we apply it to Sky, and we took the challenge to make it so that we can go beyond just 2 players. In Sky, initially we went with 8. It's a very complex, nuanced social situation because it's no longer just you and me. It could have third person and third parties, and it could be multiple parties in the 8 people. When we developed Sky, when Sky first launched, just to handle 8 player and figure out all the positive and negative situation is, a blast. We've never tried to tackle building a wholesome social environment in a completely anonymous online community. And I think we did a pretty decent job to keep the community wholesome. A lot of the times we will hear from the players that they wish that the Sky could support more players, right? So this sense of connection that you belong to something bigger could feel like, for example, the equivalent of a MMO guild. You have 40 to 100 people to really feel you're a part of a bigger group. So starting from 2020, we want to tackle this challenge is, can we make the player feel they're part of something bigger and have an emotional connection with all those people, just like a concert. We did the concert season. We planned the whole year to get ourselves ready, technologically to support up to 4,000 people in a space. And also from design side, how can we create an experience where people don't find each other annoying? Because a lot of times if you have 4,000 people jammed in one place, you are very frustrated with each other, right? We want people to like each other and appreciate the camaraderie experience. Yeah, that took us a long time to propel. But I think after the Aurora concert, if you were part of that experience, I think you probably have felt something that is a positive thing. And after that, we've seen many players gathering in the concert space and wanted to stay there and wanted to have something to do with each other. And we've seen some pretty interesting flash mobs that's done by hundreds of, not if thousands of players. And that really gives me a kind of very optimistic view of the future. People are talking about metaverse these days. My thinking about the virtual world, which so-called metaverse, is where more meaningful and kind of realistic exchange is happening in the virtual space. And when I play the concert, I've been to multiple concerts in real life, and there are emotions I felt that I could not feel anywhere else. You cannot feel that just watching a concert unfold on the screen. The smell, the excitement, the beat, the vibrant energy in the air. You can only really feel it when you are in the middle of thousands of, maybe tens of thousands of people around you. Yeah, and we tried our best to use interactivity and to capture that feeling. And I think a lot of people, myself as well, felt a similar energy in the virtual concert. And so after that, I feel very optimistic, or you can also say ambitious, is that can we connect people at an even bigger scale? So from a concert, which is 4,000 people, like I'm thinking about in real life, what are the situations where tens of thousands of people can be connected at an emotional level and feel not alone, and as a positive experience. Then I think about a lot of these festivals, music festivals, Comic-Cons. In Japan, there are these religious/country holiday festivals that's happening. That's beautiful. When people talk to me about like, what are the great experiences you have with many people? In my vision, it's like a night market with a lot of warmth and a lot of people coming and feeling very happy, Yeah, that's why initially we were just saying, let's make a large crowd system to support tens of thousands of players. But ultimately, we were like, hey, actually, we don't want a bunch of people to get together and create a lot of frustration and stampede, people dying in real life. What we want is that happy, connected experience, like a good festival. So that's why we're calling it the festival tech, hoping that we can achieve that sense of connection and warmth in the virtual world, as real as you have experienced, by participating in a real one. So that's a pretty honest answer here.
No, it's a good one. And it reminds me, I had the opportunity to go out to Japan recently and go to Gion in Kyoto. And I was there for one of the festivals around Hanami. And there were so many people out and the stalls were out. And yeah, like, I think since COVID began, it was really my first time being in like that kind of like festival atmosphere. And it did feel really good, right? It felt like I was around a lot of people having fun. And
it's a lot of positivity all mixed together. Great food, great vibe, great music. Yeah. I feel like that's the natural next step for Sky, is to create a really positive experience for a large group of people.
Okay, so obviously since the Aurora concert, we've had Days of Bloom, and now we have Season of Passage, both of which have used the festival tech. What do you think festival tech brings to these like specific events or seasons? And how do you like kind of see us using it in the future going forward to make players like have more fun during these different events and seasons?
To be honest, building these technology is, it might seem to be trivial as a video game, but it's equally complex, like building a rocket. You all see how many times rocket explodes and things didn't go as we expected. When we launched Aurora concert that night, we have 1.6 million people all trying to get in. Each stadium is 4,000. That means we have to operate 400 stadium at the same time, hoping that the stadium does not explode in midair. Right? And that would be a terrible experience if we bring all these people in and then in the middle of the concert, someone just disappeared. And it really just felt like launching the rocket. And after the first concert, we survived. Everybody felt like we just landed on the moon. You can imagine the energy in the room of all the people there, just like cheering that nothing breaks. Yeah, and that was quite stressful. And so this year we have more ambitious plans, right? Like we want to bring the numbers to tens of thousands. We also not only want to just make the number bigger, but also we want to bring more interactivity. After all, if you played Aurora concert, the interactions between the player is more of a co-witnessing. At maximum, your energy will be charged by the people around you, but you don't have any direct interactions besides just seeing, okay, we are all like making the right emotes. So we're pushing for both the quantity of how big the server can support, but also the quality of the interaction. So you can see the season of passage is really an experimental season. If you're in beta, you already see we are experimenting 5 different ways to have players interact with each other, coexisting with the system. We are just trying to see what people would do if we don't have any interactions. We just put people in the space where they are doing their quest, and we've heard the feedback, which some of the player doesn't like the fact there's so many people blocking their views. So we are already working on solutions to solve that. And this second quest you already experienced in live is about to see what happens if we have a large group of people in a somewhat of a survival scenario. You don't really die. If you fail, you can still be saved by the crowd. But we kind of want to see how does that interaction unfold. We have 3 more interactivities. Some of them are more competitive, some of them are more fun, some of them are more collaborative. So these are kind of our way to really push the boundary of what we can do with hundreds, not if thousands of players. And the challenge is we've never seen it before. And there's no one have ever tested this type of gameplay in the past. The largest online gameplay I've heard was like World of Tanks, which they have 1,000 tanks fighting each other. But, we're experimenting easily more people than that in complete different gameplay scenario. And honestly, the first quest, when we test this in the beta, was initially was a few dozen developers versus a few hundred beta testers. It all felt pretty good. We never thought that there would be a traffic jam that you couldn't even see the NPC you're supposed to meet. We just could not foresee this problem because nobody in the world have tried it. Once we see it with 4,000 people, it is kind of a mess. So we quickly adjusted the number on the server just so that people don't block your view. But we have a systematic solution now that, they should never become a problem. Because at Sky, we have, within the development, we have certain rules we follow. One of the important rules we follow is the experience is supposed to be better if there's more people. If the crowd become a negative experience, we really need to address it. And hopefully the whole experience will be better. What I want to say is we are experimenting and we're inventing new things together with you, because we can never find 10,000 people to come test something with us. You are our only hope, and we promise that we will bring you something amazing. But at the same time, some rocket is going to explode. So I'm also just going to apologize ahead of time that sometimes we don't know what we're making. We will only know if we can see it with you guys together.
I don't know if people watching this will know, but we are recording this on May 4th, and the "You Are Our Only Hope" I'm just assuming is a Star Wars reference. That's my guess. Yeah. And you mentioned, there are some specific things we really learned within the first few hours of Passage. And to touch on some of those just specifically, I think we made the quick decision to reduce just the total number of players. But to Jova's point, that's kind of just a quick fix to the situation. But going forward, I think we're looking to address just the amount of noise you hear from other players. Obviously we know we felt it too, right? When we got online, we were all kind of messaging each other this is a lot, this is very loud. The Ember tech that I think Nick messaged about, I think we put that out on Discord and Twitter, that will make sure that players don't interfere, right, while you're trying to experience those spirit stories. Our folks at the studio put a lot of time and effort into those too, and we really want you to be able to enjoy those.
The noise is a classic situation where we've never been able to find 4,000 people to test, see how loud everything's going to be. When we work on the concert, we initially have the opposite problem, which people feel the concert stadium is dead, even though we have hundreds of people sitting there, and not to mention reaching thousands. So the audio designers, they have to design without really hearing, all the players' input, but kind of to control the volume. If the stadium is fully filled, then the volume reaches to what we would expect you would hear from a real stadium, and then the volume will shrink if it's only a small portion, right? So when we tested the sound, it was 400 players in beta. It feels totally okay, right? It's not very distracting, but once it's 4,000, then the volume reached out to a really high volume. Nobody have ever heard it in the test. I mean, you probably would say, well, how come you didn't think about that? It's just like we didn't think about that, and so that's why many rockets explodes. It's just people, test all the scenario in a safe environment, and then once put the real environment, something was lost, right? But now we see the explosion with the first quest. We've already made changes to the audio system.
Right, and obviously when we use festival tech in the future, like that factors in, like that first quest experience really factors in like what we learned in terms of like, hey, what's like the ideal audience size? Like what's the best way to have this experience? So we learned from that. Obviously, we also are dealing with, we know for some of you watching that there was an issue with being able to join your friends during some of it. So like that's also something we're working on. Like, to be clear, we want you to experience these big moments with your friends, right? That was just something that unfortunately like we didn't quite catch, but going forward, that is a priority to make sure that you can enjoy those moments with all of your friends like you normally would for events in season. So yeah, a lot of learnings from that first quest, but we did want to kind of get out here and take some time to explain a little bit about what we were doing with all the festival tech. I think this video is probably getting a little long for most people, Jenoヴa. So I think like, yeah, any parting thoughts, Jenoヴa, before we close out this video?
As we mentioned, we want to host a very amazing festival for the player. And that's our, long-term goal. And we're taking all the necessary steps to experiment and iterate to take us there. And yeah, I just want to say, thank you for being part of this and helping us to make this possible. And when this massive festival happen in the future, it's not just us, but also you to help make this possible. Thank you.
Yeah, whenever you're out there leaving feedback, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's in the Discord, just on social media, like we see those things, we catalog them and we discuss them. And it really is, you all are part of that development experience with us. So, to echo what Jenova's saying, thank you for all the time you take to test and provide that feedback. Okay, I think we're good for now. Like I said, we'll have more in the future, not just about festival tech, but a lot of cool stuff coming up this year. Please look forward to a lot of blogs and videos coming out. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.